Okay guys, so let's review. Yesterday we talked about the Freytag model, which is a graphic way to show how a story or a narrative is organized. Question, who can tell me what the first step is?
The first step is called the exposition. That's when the reader or the audience is introduced to important information.
Good job. Step 2, anyone?
Step 2 is the rising action. That means all the events that lead up to the climax, which is step 3. During the climax, something scary or dangerous or very exciting probably happens.
Really good, yeah, but for the climax, it doesn't always have to be so dramatic. So, for example, the main characters in the movie or play can have an argument, and this is also a climax for a good story or a movie or a play. What's next?
Then we have the falling action. That tells us what happens as a result to whatever the drama was that we witnessed in the climax.
Very, very good. Now, you know what I'm going to ask next? It's a French word. We practice saying it. Starts with a D.
Denouement.
Denouement.
Good.
Denouement is when the conflict is resolved.
Believe it or not, plots used by the Freytag model have been in use as early as the Greeks.
I don't understand. You told us Freytag came up with this model of dramatic structure in the 1800s.
That is correct. And all good stories, like the Odyssey, do follow this model. However, the way a play is told is a little different from a narrative. In a play or movie, you have to draw the audience in from the start. An action at the top of the play is called an inciting incident.
Do you mean exciting incident?
No, Mateo, I mean an inciting incident, which is also known as the initial incident. So what's another way you can tell a story using the Freytag model?
How about a graphic novel?
Wonderful, Daisy, yes. Now this brings us to your assignment. I want you to show me how the Freytag model applies to these different forms of storytelling. Using the story of the Odyssey as your base, I will assign each of you to create either a graphic novel, a play, or retell the story in your own words. Each format will require you to emphasize different story elements. I look forward to seeing your work.
So, according to this rubric, I have to write a narrative. A narrative? Isn't this story already a narrative? Miss Sanchez?
How can I help you, Mateo?
I got a boring project. Everybody else gets to retell the story of Odysseus by drawing or writing a play. I just have to tell the story out loud.
I see your point, but you're actually telling the story like the people of that time.
Really?
Yeah, Homer did not write the Odyssey, he spoke it out loud. It was composed in the oral tradition of that time, but that was in the 8th century. Here in the present, I want Mateo to add his own story ideas.
I always wondered what would happen if a spaceship crashed into the sirens.
So you want to use a fractured fairy tale. I love those. Just make sure that this spaceship is relevant to the plot.
I will. Thank you. So excited. Thank you, Miss Sanchez.
The first thing we need to do is write a script.
We can take turns writing.
Excellent idea. We have to do the scene with the sirens.
I don't think we could do everything in this book, or we'll never be done.
Right. Let's start thinking of lines. We want to set up the action in the scene. In the story, it sounds like the sirens want Odysseus to come to them. If he will, they will give him knowledge. We want to emphasize the way the sirens try to trick him.
Yo, man, come here, I'll make you smart.
I don't think so. What about Odysseus, listen to my son, and you will gain the knowledge of 1,000 men?
That sounds great.
Great, let's keep going.
I'm so excited. Odysseus is going to be so much fun to draw. Comics often emphasize their characters because they're seen so much. Odysseus seems very strong, so maybe I can emphasize his muscles. I'm going to make him look like a superhero.
And the spaceship that had been following Odysseus from the beginning of his journey came down and landed on top of the sirens. Their screams rang out across the sea. Even the aliens who appeared had to hold their ears. The aliens looked at Odysseus and smiled. You have proven yourself a warrior. Please come to the planet Quargon 8 and save us from the intergalactic beasts. Odysseus smiled. Can my family come? The aliens did not say a word, but suddenly, Odysseus's wife and child appeared. They hugged and walked onto the spaceship. The end.
I think that our school has just found the next Homer. Thank you, Mateo. Daisy, are you ready to share your graphic novel? Okay.
According to the Odyssey, the sirens are very nasty. They enchant all who come near them. If anyone unwarily draws in too close and hears the singing of the sirens, his wife and children will never welcome him home again, for they sit in a green field and warble him to death with the sweetness of their song. I decided to make them beautiful killers. The Odyssey is also a long story, but with a comic you don't have that much room. I figured I didn't need to say much in the voice bubbles because my pictures tell the story.
Lovely work, Daisy. And our final piece will be a play performed by Antonio and Maria.
Come to me and you will be filled with the knowledge of 1,000 men.
The song, it's so beautiful. Please, I must go to the sirens.
Let Odysseus go, he will be ours.
I can't take it anymore.
No!
Excellent work. Everyone used the Freytag model beautifully. Next week, we're going to talk about a story setting and how it's important and how it affects the plot.